Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and I thought we could ponder our favorite question once again: is it canon? Well, as many of you know, Charlie Cox is totally set to return in Daredevil Born Again. And he won't be alone because Wilson Fisk, aka Vincent D'Onofrio, will be joining him in that series. Now, we've been getting a lot of word in the last week about other actors like Eldon Henson joining the show. He played Foggy Nelson. But this dives us into a really weird direction where many fans want to know if the original Netflix series is canon and where Marvel Studios is going with this. Now, let's be clear, there's always been a ton of confusion, at least officially, about whether Marvel television properties are indeed canon to the MCU. We have seen some familiar faces start to return, but so far, there really hasn't been anything to suggest that the events of the Inhumans and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have any bearing on what stories Marvel Studios proper is currently telling. Now, we've said many times, you're perfectly okay to have this as your headcanon, but after the events with the Darkhold, it makes it pretty safe to assume that the TV shows were probably set on a different Earth, and now that we've established variants, that makes this a little easier to sort. Now recently, Daredevil himself, Charlie Cox, actually sat down with Screen Rant and clarified this a little bit, and he was totally asked if he believes the former show is canon to the MCU. This is what he had to say. Yeah, I don't know. But my base instinct on the name of the show, it's being called Born Again, the fact Kevin Feige talks about it being a Season 1 rather than a Season 4, my feeling is this is a whole new deal. Listening to Charlie here, you really have to break down what he says and what he can actually reveal. You know, Marvel puts a lot of clauses and NDAs into their contracts, so I don't think Charlie could actually answer this question officially. And quite honestly, the only official answer can come from Marvel Studios. There have been some official Marvel publications that indicate that most of this stuff is not canon to the MCU, but I actually think we're going to take a little bit of a middle ground when it comes to any TV properties. Those Netflix series and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. quite honestly connected with fans in a way that I don't think Marvel wants to waste that energy. And there are a lot of characters from those previous shows I do expect to return to the MCU, and although they won't officially canonize those old shows, I do think they're going to lean on them heavily. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are the first actors to have this happen to them, but I think in the near future we're going to see a lot more of them. John Bernthal's Punisher, Kristen Ritter's Jessica Jones, or even Mike Coulter's Luke Cage or Chloe Bennett's Quake, all huge fan favorites, could indeed make their way into the MCU in one form or another. Now, with the existence of variants and a little bit of respect for people's fandom, you have to pretty much admit though, whatever you want to be part of your canon, that's perfectly okay. I think at the end of the day, as long as you understand that shows that aren't part of Kevin Feige's canon will not be referenced or used in a way that they probably could be, is pretty much all the acceptance you need to move forward. Quite honestly, most of the stuff Marvel Television did, I love. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a heck of a good ride, and almost all the Netflix shows were just downright fun. I'm really glad we don't have to choose one or the other. I do think Marvel will continue to cherry pick the absolute best aspects of all of these shows and then redo the stuff they want for their stories, all while almost surely being heavily influenced by these original creations from Marvel Television. Now, how long we have to wait and see other Marvel Television characters show up, we'll have to wait and see. I think if any of these characters show up anytime soon, it's likely to be almost all of those Netflix characters, minus maybe one. And then there's Chloe Bennett's Quake. But then you dive into the whole question about whether there are Inhumans in the MCU at all, and that's pretty much for a different video. Now, obviously, we're covering everything Daredevil moving forward, and this question of canon is always something you guys, I know, want to talk about. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll dive into this again soon. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the new Daredevil series being its own new creation in a Season 1? And out of all the old Marvel Television characters you would like to see return, who is your number one choice? I already got mine. That was Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.